Barriers in listening. The there are different kinds of barriers, and first of all there is something that is known as internal barriers that exist within the listener. Okay, let us say for example unwillingness, that if you do not want to listen, if you do not want to attend the lecture but you are forced to do that, then there would be no listening. So this unwillingness is the first one. Daydream, this is a very bad habit among all the people. Okay, when you sit quietly for some time, whatever good thing is going on in front of you, you start daydreaming, you start imagining different things, and your mind is occupied with all these imagination. So you cannot concentrate on whatever is being listened or heard by you. So therefore these are the two major barriers with the listener himself or within the listener himself. There are some barriers which exist externally. Let us say for example distracting stimuli or information overload. Okay, uh, let us say for example if you are listening quietly to something and all of a sudden from somewhere you listen to the sound of your favorite song, of course your mind would be distracted, and it would tend to listen more attentively to that particular song rather than the lecture. So distracting stimuli, especially the sounds, horns and different kind of music that involve that will be a very good example of this kind of distracting stimuli. Information overload is another thing. Let us say for example if you are not habitual of listening to somebody for more than half an hour, and if you have to sit for 2 hours for to listen to something, the information would be overloaded into your mind, and therefore most probably your mind would stop processing that information, and therefore your attentiveness, your attention towards that information would be missed out, and therefore there would be these kind of problems or barriers with listening. There would be some cultural barriers as well. For example there are different cultures, okay, and there are prejudices, there are presuppositions for those cultures. Okay, let us say for example if I do not understand Tamil very well, and there is a person who speaks English but in Tamil kind of accent, or a Punjabi person speaks Punjabi in different accent, or Maharashtrian person who try to speak English in Maharashtrian way. Problem is that if it is not in a particular standard way of speaking English, most probably the listeners would cut loose of their attention, and then therefore their attention would not be retained, and therefore information cannot be passed on. Okay, so why the people want the students to learn soft skills, or why do they want students to have a standard kind of communication skills? Because of this thing, that because when you interact with people who are culturally diverse, different, then you need to have one common particular thing, that is the standard of language that would combine for all, that could be understood by all, and therefore there is always a kind of a pressure of maintaining English as one of the languages in our academics also. Okay, those people who cannot speak English, they can be also good CA, no problem with that, or CS, or whatever other positions they held. Problem is that when they have to interact with different kind of people, different cultures, they need to maintain one particular standard language, and there they lag. So therefore the government want we people to have one particular standard language, and therefore English is focused in that particular way. Prejudices is another barrier. Prejudices is a preconceived notion, the bad feeling about something. Pre-hand you have some ideas that अरे आज कितने बजे लेक्चर का है, तो 3 बजे का है, 3 बजे तो सोने का टाइम होता है, सो आई कांट अटेंड. बट एनी हाउ यू आर पुट इन टू द लेक्चर, देन योर माइंड वुड नॉट बी रेडी टू एक्सेप्ट वट एवर इज बिंग टोल्ड. वो कितना भी अच्छा हो, आपका माइंड तैयार नहीं होगा लिसन करने के लिए. सो द प्रेजुडाइज are preconceived bad ideas about one particular thing. may it be time, place, or the person who presents, or the subject or topic. You can have different kind of prejudices for different things. But if you are prejudiced, let us say for example topic or a person or place, then or a time of that particular delivery of lecture, then your mind would revolt all the time. जरी तुम्ही लेक्चर ऐकायला बसलात तरी तुमचं माइंड कायम रिवोल्ट करत राहील. अँड देअरफॉर देअर वुड बी अ बॅरियर इन लिसनिंग. Vocabulary is another part. If you are listening to me and I use very hard words, let us say for example, or I am speaking in Australian accent or South African accent, which is not which you are not habitual with, probably you would not understand what I am saying, or your mind would probably not ready to process that particular information. It would be tired to listen and process the information. So these are some of the cultural barriers which would affect our listening skills. There are some barriers from the speaker's sides as well. The first one was from listener side, now it is from the speaker's side. What are those? Let us say for example sloppy appearance. If I want to present something in front of the public and I am not well prepared, I am not well dressed, I have no confidence at all in myself, then there would be a problem. Okay, and therefore people would make fun of me rather than listening to me. Whatever good content I may have, but that would go in vain, and only my appearance would be the matter of discussion in that particular room. So that for that particular purpose we need to maintain very good eye contact with the people, we need to practice very good confidence level, we need to maintain very good body language, and most of all we must be self confident among ourselves. Everything comes from one particular thing, that is preparation. If you prepare well for that particular event, then all this thing would not take place. The second thing is lack of credibility. As I had already mentioned when we talk about ethos. Okay, what is ethos? It is credibility, the trust that the audience may have in you. We have a tradition in our schools and colleges. Whenever there is a guest speaker, we have a formal introduction of that guest speaker. The awards and achievements and work done by that guest speaker is purposefully presented in front of the audience. Why? What's the reason? Because on the basis of that particular cited work, experience, and awards and achievements, the credibility of that speaker is established. Otherwise we don't have anything to do with that speaker. How would we know him? How would we trust in him? That trust is first of all is established because of whatever he or she has done so far is told to the audience, and then audience think that yes, this person is very much liable to tell us the truth about that particular topic. And then if there is no captivating message, there is a particular kind of delivery. Okay, if topic is very good but the speaker cannot present it in a very good manner, it is not presented in a very interesting way, then there would be again problems with listening, and audience would be fed up with that kind of hearing and listening. Therefore these are different kind of barriers at different sides. I mean internal barriers from the side of listener, there would be external barriers, there would be cultural barriers, and there would be barriers from the side of the speaker himself. Now there would be some other kinds of barriers as well. Okay, for example physical barriers. There are mics, there are speakers, and many times we find that if they are not synchronized properly, if they are not tuned properly, they would create different kind of sounds. The audibility automatically go low. The speaker does not, the audience cannot listen to the speaker in a proper way. And if there is a very low sound or very bad kind of sound that listeners are getting, they would probably not listen to that speaker in a proper way. Then there are extraneous noises and defective devices, everything, I mean making different kind of noises, different kind of sounds. There would be up and down in volume, voices, everything that could cause by defective voices, and therefore they come under the category of physical barriers. And something that we have just studied, and more we need to study about that, is that the problems related with speaker and listener. First one is prejudice, that if somebody says that audience, अरे ओ ए या बी डिवीजन का या ई डिवीजन का जो क्लास है ना, वहाँ के बच्चे सुनते ही नहीं. लेट अस से फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ somebody tells this to your new teacher, on his mind he always has this kind of prejudice for those audience, that this audience is not good, therefore probably he will not give his or her 100% in that particular classroom at the time of presentation. Exactly reverse thing can happen with the students as well. If somebody tells you, अरे वो XYZ teacher जो है ना वो बहुत मतलब बोर करते, तो whatever good information that teacher may have for you, but if you have that kind of prejudice set in your mind about that teacher, your mind would be revolting and saying that you should not listen to that teacher. Okay, so this prejudice is one of the very major problems. It is from both speakers and listeners side. Another major problem is rehearsing. Suppose you have to, if I ask you to present for 5 minutes, okay, what you people would be doing when I am telling you some other things. Okay, let's say I am instructing you about your presentation, and I announced some 5 minutes before that you are going to present in front of me on different kind of topics, and then I started giving you instructions. I know from my experience, near about 95 to 99% people would be engaging themselves in rehearsing rather than listening to me. Okay, your mind start rehearsing of whatever you want to say in front of the people, whatever you will be saying in front of the people, audiences there. Exactly opposite can also happen. It could be from the listener side as well. When they listen to something, they want to remember something, and in order to remember something, they keep on rehearsing the same sentences or the words or phrases, and then what happened? They missed on whatever is told after that. Okay, so rehearsing is that kind of a barrier in listening. Then identifying. This is another thing. If I am telling you a story for illustrating or giving you example of something, and you personally identify yourself in that story, then the problem is that you try involve your own experiences in that particular information, which would probably not help you to understand that information objectively. Once you get involved in that particular information or in that particular discourse, then you cannot think objectively, and then there will be problems again. So in order to understand the information properly, analyze that information properly, we need to be objective. We should not identify ourselves with that particular piece of information. Then there is something that is called as rebellious instinct. As I have already said that मुझे तो बैठना ही नहीं था, इन्होंने बोल दिया बैठने के लिए, इसलिए मैं बैठा, और ये टीचर ऐसे क्यों बात कर रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं करना था. All these kind of thoughts which go on in our mind when we are listening to your teacher or your lecture, and everything that, and at the same time you can say that no, I know better than this, I had seen some videos better than whatever he or she is presented, and there was a better experience with some other teacher. Okay, everything that rebels, this rebellious instinct again hinders good listening. Mood, we have seen this yesterday as well. If you are in a bad shape of thinking, feeling, emotionally, whatever good content is being presented in front of you, you would never understand that. So when you go to any lecture, when you want to attend something of very important, keep your mood good. Okay, don't let your mind charge with either very bad mood or very enthusiastic mood. In both cases you are going to lose the information. So in order to get the information, store it properly, understand it properly, and then will be able to memorize it properly later on, you need to be in a neutral mood, a fresh mood, so that your mind could understand, perceive and store